I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation. Here today. I'm going to try something out an idea I got from Zuli Rain, and it's called live writing or write with me. She calls it write with me. The concept is I'm going to go right now and write a Medium article about a particular topic, and you can follow along and see my exact process, how it all comes together. It's something that I'll be doing, just totally live here as we are doing this together. And if you're here on the live stream, hopefully people will watch this after the fact, but if you're here on the live stream right now and you have any questions about my process, about what I'm doing, feel free to post them. I'll do my best to answer, or if there's something you want to see integrated into the story, and at the end we'll go ahead and publish it. So it's kind of just an attempt to show people a little bit more of my process and how I create content. So let me go ahead and update people on Twitter. I'm going to switch this over so you can see. So the first thing I like to do when I'm going to do a live stream like this is to go ahead and publicize it. So if other people want to come and join us, I'll say I'm writing a Medium live right now on YouTube. Join me if you want to see. Share a link. Great. So if anybody wants to come and follow along, then they're ready to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So you can see I've got my Medium home screen up here. And I like to go to my stories first. And then I'll start writing a new story. So the topic I'm doing today is how to install a Nest Learning Thermostat. I'm going to put in the title, and then let's see. So this is going to be based mainly around art that I already have. So I'm a photographer, I installed the Nest Learning Thermostat, and I took pictures of the whole process. So I'm basically going to use these pictures as the basis for developing this particular story. And that's a good strategy sometimes if you're trying to document a particular kind of linear process, like in this case, installing a new device. So I want to show this process from start to finish. But first, let's write an intro here. So I put in my headline. You can see I've got this as the title. I usually like to come back and do the image at the top of the story and my subtitle later. But I'm going to start with a hook. And you can do a lot of different things here. For this, I think I'll start with a question. So I'll say, getting frustrated with constantly changing the schedule on your old school thermostat, or maybe you never learn to Okay, so I'm just introducing the problem that, basically if you're using an old school thermostat, it's probably inefficient, it's annoying, you probably never learned how to properly configure it. So these are just some of the issues people might have. So traditional thermostats, let's see what else I say here. Air conditioning. Now I like to kind of edit as I'm going here, just reread sentences, make sure these things make sense. So this is a little passive, so I'm going to change it and say, So if I'm going to make a statement like that, I feel like I need to back it up. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up new window. Yeah, so this seems useful. I'm looking here for something specific that I can cite for how these smart thermostats actually are better than the other alternatives. So this is an article. I don't know what the Smart Cave is, but I see this links to a study by Nest. So let's go ahead in there. Energy saving. So this is a pretty detailed study. And I'm just looking through here. I'm usually pretty good at reading things pretty quickly. So I'm just looking at the background section here, methodology. I like to go through, make sure that this looks generally realistic. And I'm seeing this number repeated again and again, 10 to 12%. So I'm just reading through, skimming through this quickly. Yeah, so we get to the conclusion, generally similar. Nest Learning Thermostat heating savings about 10 to 12%, electric savings about 15%, cooling. So those are some nice statistics I can use. I'm going to go ahead and copy this link, close this out. So smart thermostats are a better choice according to a study by Google's Nest division. Smart stats can save homeowners between, I'm trying to remember what it was again. I have to pull that up, remind myself here. So we'll say 10 to 15% on heating and cooling cost over the course of several years. Those savings be quite significant. And then what are some other benefits? Let's check if anybody has any questions on here. Hi, Mateo. Thanks for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions, if you're still watching. Of course, for several years, the savings can be quite significant. What are some other advantages? Smart thermostats also allow for remote control your home's temperature from your phone. And many thermostats automatically switch the heat, switch the HVAC on and off when you arrive home or leave for the day. Okay, so now we'll introduce the specific one, Google's Nest Learning Thermostat. Be a great choice for one of the Okay, so I'm introducing the concept, introducing what I'm going to. Ecobee thermostat and the Nest thermostat, except the looks. Yeah, that's a good question. So I can try to include that in this article a little bit here. So Google's Internet can be a great choice for smart thermostat in your home. The Ecobee thermostat, I know a little bit about it, but let me just pull up spec sheet. So Amazon is backing Ecobee. Interesting. So I'm going to open that. I'll have that ready to cite. Let's go ahead and have a look. So obviously one is whoever is behind it, Google versus Amazon. Seems to be ranked pretty well. Both detect home and away. This has the smart sensor. You can buy a smart sensor for the Nest thermostat, but I think probably the biggest thing here is just going to be the difference between the manufacturers and whether this is something. It looks like this works with Alexa, so they're fairly similar devices. Yeah, they estimate 45 minutes or less. But since you brought it up, let's just go ahead and include it there as another alternative. The Nest I just find is easy to install. I never tried to install an Ecobee, so I'm not certain there. But great choice from thermostat in your home. Say others. I've heard of other people using enjoying the Ecobee thermostat as well. Now I'm going to link to this, and while we're at it, let's go ahead and pull up the link for the Nest as well. See, let's use an incognito tab so I don't log my searches here and I get tons of products pushed to me from Amazon. So Amazon Nest Learning Thermostat, and I pretty rarely include affiliate links, although sometimes I will, and you always want to disclose that. Nest is a little bit cheaper too, which is good to know. So I'm going to go ahead and link this while I'm at it so people can find the product I'm writing about here. If they want to install it, whole process is going to go 45 minutes. So that's pretty consistent with Ecobee, which is good to see. Here's how I installed my Nest. So let me put in a quick caveat. Okay, so I like to put in a caveat. It's great to do it yourself, but only if you actually are qualified to do it. So I like to remind people, you know, obviously if you're not able to do this yourself, don't feel that you have to. You can always hire an electrician. There's always another option. So I'll say first, I'll say the first step. Actually, before we do this, let's find the exact instructions from Google. So they have a video. I don't really want that. I want written instructions. Looks like this will do it. Great. Okay, so I'm going to move this over to my other window here. And that way I'm going to be able to kind of follow along in this as I'm doing my story to make sure that what I'm remembering is accurate with the instructions. But I'm mostly going to go based on my own art and my own recollections, because people don't really want the same guide just regurgitated to them. They want an actual person's experience with actually installing this thing. So I just like to check, though, make sure I'm not forgetting anything or saying something incorrect. So first, So now I'm going to grab my art. I'm just going to start dropping these photos in. And actually already I see there's something I need to say first. So first, Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drop my first photo in here. So that's my circuit breaker, illustrating that concept. Fully off, then remove the cover from my ancient thermostat. So that's my next photo in the sequence here. So that's coming off. Okay, so that's my next step. Drop my next piece of art in, which shows what's happening there. So this is a step that seems pretty important because you're checking to see if there's any high voltage elements to your thermostat setup. So this is one where I want to make sure that I'm saying exactly what they say. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my instructions or my other screen. I'm going to search for voltage. Yeah, so high voltage wires. Yeah, so this is where we want to really give a caveat because this is where someone could run into big issues. But just to make sure there aren't any high voltage wires on the system. According to Nest, Nest. We'll make this a quote. So these are like the things you want to look out for. Get the formatting proper in here. Okay, so that's obviously important from a safety perspective. Okay, now okay, I'm going to check this. So we're labeling those wires. Next photo. Okay, that's what that looks like. Now, one thing I forgot is first I took a picture. Probably not going to happen. Okay, a little sticky label, identify it properly. So that's what this looks like there. All my wires were labeled. Okay, did that. Now, I always like to phrase these things in terms of what I did. I can't tell everybody exactly what they should do, but I can at least share my own experience of exactly what I did to do an installation like this. So I think that's helpful. You know, I'm not trying to replace the Nest manual. I'm trying to show what this was really like. And so I'm just sharing my own perspective there. Okay, so I threw that one away. And again, I'm just sort of walking linearly through this process. So this is sort of a break point, I think, in the piece. Now we've got the old thermostat off. We've got the new one, we've got the wires just hanging out here. So now I'm going to sort of make a transition. I'm going to say old thermostat is gone. It's time to install the Nest Learning Thermostat. And I like to repeat the product name exactly, just because if people are looking for the product, I want them to be able to easily find it. So say the first step. So let's show what that base plate looks like. Here it is. Again, if you're just joining me, I'm pulling from art that I took here. This is my folder of the photos that I took. I'm going to put this in. Thank you for, it looks like some kind of a tip from Mateo Jones. Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, so threaded it over exposed wires and positioned it on the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this guy on. Great, okay, so you can see there. Okay, great. So now we got the base plate on, and then I'll say okay, so we're getting close here. This is screwed into the wall. You can see I took a little bit of an action shot there with one screw in. Looks like one screw in and one screw partially out. So wire flag, it's sort of what they look like, but it's not super descriptive. So I'll say each wire label from the earlier step. I might come back to that. Properly labeled. Trying to think what to call these. I'll just call them an attachment point to the base plate of the Nest thermostat. So this is simple because you're just matching the exact code on the wire, proper attachment point. And I'll note here, thermostat is different, so you might follow the instructions to Nest app. Complete your specific installation. So again, I'm just reminding people that your results may be different than mine. Your setup is probably different than mine. So I want people just to be aware of that. Not to think that they're doing it wrong if it looks a little bit different than what I'm showing here. So there we go. There's my wires in the wall. So these are some of them out, some of them in. So we're at another kind of transition point here. So I'll say here's how the base plate looked. So all my wires were connected. Tucked the main wire. Basically flush the base plate. Okay, now we're basically done, so the final step So that's the final piece of art, as you can see here, which means we're basically done with the meat of this article. So now we'll summarize. It's too many exclamation points. Let's get rid of one. Here it is, fully installed. Great. Great. So that looks good. Now I just want to kind of conclude this article with a little bit of information. And again, this is live, so thank you for Mateo there for chiming in if you have any questions. See, there's several people following along, so thanks for joining me here. Feel free to ask them. Let's finish this article. I'm going to share a little perspective to sort of wrap things up of how it's been using this. Some nice things that I've observed. And I just want to evaluate quickly how its features are doing. So, to share and kind of leave things open for the future, say. And then some kind of a conclusion, always good. Okay, so there's our story. Now I like to go up to the top. Let's put a piece of art in here. So I think what I'm going to do for this, let's see if there's somebody else's photo. Sometimes it's nice to choose someone else's image. Yeah, that's nice. Somebody else's nest. Okay, that's not working. So sometimes Unsplash will do this to you. Yeah, so I find when this happens, I have to pull Unsplash up separately. You might have encountered this if you write a lot on Medium. I'm going to go ahead and download that. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Now I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to choose my image. Let's see. Go ahead and grab this over here. Actually, it's easier just to drag it in. There's that. Now you saw I copy and pasted the text for attribution, which I'm going to drop in there from Unsplash. And there we go. That's looking pretty good. Now let's see. What else to do? Let's write a subtitle. I like to say something specific in here. So it ties in how to install Nest Learning Thermostat. It took me about 45 minutes. Great. So yeah, I like that you're using somebody else's photo, especially since this is so much of my own art. Now I'm just going to give it a quick read through. So I didn't put a link to this. So I'm going to link this study. I'm going to say that this was backed by Amazon. It could be a good thing or a bad thing to certain people, so it's nice to include it. So a little warning here. Again, just sort of skimming through this, looking for obvious typos. Great, so that's all looking good. I'm going to put an attribution on here for this one, say photos courtesy of the author, just so that Medium knows who created these and I'm not just randomly stealing them from the internet. Usually you can just do that on one photo and then you're good for the rest of the article. Feel free to ask. Again, I see several people have tuned in here. If you have any questions about the process here, please feel free to go ahead and ask those. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Now, my final step, I'm going to say add to publication. Now I could submit this to a publication. For ease here, I'm going to go ahead and put it in my own do-it-yourself home automation. Now I'm going to say submit. I'm going to check this link to email my subscribers, people who have subscribed to me. When I publish this, now I'm going to put in some tags. Brand names, buzzwords, everything here. I'm going to say submit to publication. Now it's my publication. so I don't have to wait for an editor to review it. I can just go ahead and say publish. Give this one final check, make sure I've got my image looks good, title, subtitle, publish, and send now. Great, so that's live. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the story link, head over to Twitter. Fire out a tweet there. So if anyone wants to go and check that out, that's live now. And I usually like to come back, give this a second, open again to any questions. Thank you, Mateo, for asking a question and for that tip. I like to go in and have a quick look and see. So usually within the first maybe 10 minutes, I'll see a couple views. I'll see if it gets picked up and distributed. And then ultimately I will see, in probably a couple days, we'll see if this probably gets a couple hundred views. But there's the story. So that's how I write and publish a Medium article. As you saw, that one took about 35 minutes. Usually I can go even faster than that, depending on the length. This is a 6-minute read. I'm not sure the total number of words in there, but here's that story. I'll go ahead and drop a link into the chat here if anyone wants to go have a look at it, share it, because you helped and joined in here. Any final questions I'm open to? Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me. I'll be coming back and doing more of these. If you enjoyed this, if you want to see more of my process, please subscribe to me here on YouTube. Follow me on Medium, medium.com/@TomSmith585. And I'm going to do more of these thanks to Julie, wait, I'm trying to remember. Julie Rain. Right, yeah, Julie Rain. That's what it is. Right with me. Thank you, Julie, for this really cool concept. Really enjoyed doing this, and I hope others will come and join me again.